I don't know if you're aware of the fact that some 7 million Americans have gone for over a year without making payments on their federal student loans. We have federal loan programs, and I understand why they're necessary to get our kids through college. You want to get them a good college education, but you got to pay it back. I mean, a deal is a deal, right? And despite the fact that the economy is doing better, interest rates are down, still an awful lot of people, millions and millions of graduates, do not pay back their loans. And so we're talking about $1.2 trillion. What do we do about this? And is this okay? Should we just suck it up and let the taxpayers pay? And how do you responsibly finance your kids' education? That's some things we want to talk about. Jean Burk is joining me. She's an educational finance expert. Got a great book called College Prep Genius, which is on my website at JimBrownUSA.com. She's joining us today on our program to talk about these various issues. Hey, Jean, welcome to the Common Sense Show. What's your thoughts on student loans? Should the taxpayers of this country just suck up $1.2 trillion and pay off all these loans? Or is there a responsibility on the part of these families and kids to meet the obligations they made when they borrowed all this money?
You know, Jim, absolutely, taxpayers should not be stuck with one more bill. And, you know, the thing is, if you look more into some of these programs that have been presented, you know, we've got situations where it doesn't even talk about the controlling the cost of the college, or, you know, anytime you start adding some federal subsidies in there. But the problem is you start making, you know, college available, for lack of a better word, available to everyone, although it already is right now. But you start telling everyone, hey, everybody can go to college for free. What you're going to do now is throw in a lot of kids in there that aren't even college-bound students. And I've been teaching kids how to get free college for 11 years, but not everybody is going to go to college. And we already have a low dropout rate right now. About 30% of all kids who enter college are going to graduate. So then you start throwing everybody in there, and it's going to even increase even more than that.
Well, yeah, you find that with the dropout rate where a lot of kids say, well, I'm not going to stay there for 4 years, or at least I'm not going to take all those heavy courses. I'll take the minimum, join a fraternity, have a good time, and then, you know, we'll go back and see what we're going to do with my life. But that's fine as long as I'm not paying for it or you're not paying for it. The taxpayers are not paying for it. That's my concern. And as you just pointed out, there are lots of options available out there, Gene. You know, if you can't afford a 4-year residential college, you've got community colleges, you've got other options, you've got the internet courses you can take. You've got some other options, don't you?
Oh, you do. And I think you've got to take some responsibility here. You've got, you know, these kids need to be, you know, independent, and if they're going to take on the load, they need to be able to either ultimately pay the debt. Hopefully not. There's so many ways to not pay debt, go to college for free. But if you're going to take it on, we need to start teaching our kids that, you know, this entitlement attitude has got to go. You know, this is not a right for you. This is a privilege to live in this country and to be able to go to this school. And you can't go to school. But, you know, don't give us the bill, because you think about it. Even if these kids were to drop out, there's still going to be a bill, and still somebody's going to have to pay for it. So I think we need to do a preemptive strike, and that's saying, hey, listen, there are so many ways right now you can reduce your cost of college or go to college for free. And I think sometimes these kids in high school need to be taking maybe some AP courses or some dual credit just to even see if they can handle the workload. You know, a lot of these kids will breeze through high school, get to college, and not realize that you've got, you know, 4 or 5 hours of homework per class per day, and ultimately they're not, you know, they're going to drop out. So I think there needs to be some testing beforehand just to see even if you can even make it in college.
Well, don't we do that with the ACT test? Don't we do some testing? You've got to have a minimum just to get in college to begin with. Is that going on in most states?
It is, and that's what I do. I teach kids on how to ace the SAT. You know, a lot of kids bomb it, even really smart ones, because really they're logic tests. They're not about your IQ, and you know, they're testing your critical thinking skills, which is a good indicator of, you know, how well you're going to do in college, because you do need to be able to think in college. So those are great, and I love teaching kids on how to ace the test and answer every question in 30 seconds or less. But I think besides that, I think that kids really need to take on some more rigorous courses in high school to be able to see if it's something that they can actually handle on a full-time basis when they're in high school. I mean, when they get to college, because I think you're right. A lot of kids take on the college as like the 13th year, you know, and they want to continue high school on, and it's almost a slap in the face when they realize that that's not really what college is all about.
Well, so I see your point. I think you're making a good point. Of a responsible parent's going to say, listen, we might struggle and borrow money and get a student loan to help our son or daughter get through school, but we better be sure that they can make it, because we're going to get stuck with these loans, and if we're not careful, we can dig ourselves a heck of a hole and be in debt for years to come. So what you're saying is there is college prep that someone like you do in terms of testing and laying out a program. Well, when should a parent contact someone like yourself, Jean? Like a year in advance, or when do you start making the preparations?
You know, I actually teach a lot of 6th and 7th graders. You know, they've got time on their side. You know, but if your kids are already in high school, I mean, it's not too late. I think so many times a lot of the guidance counselors at some of these schools, and I have a lot of friends who are counselors. You know, they're so overwhelmed and so much on their plate that they don't have the opportunity or the time to help the kids. And oftentimes they'll tell them to wait till the end of the junior year, even into the senior year, which is really pretty late. But if we can start our kids early, at the minimum in 9th grade, start thinking about test prep and about, you know, college classes and things like that, it will go a long way. It'll take a lot of stress off those kids. But the sooner you start, the more time you have to improve. So parents need to put it on their radar. Even if they don't think it's on their radar, they need to put it on their radar. It's going to make a huge difference in the end.
Yeah, and some real long-range planning. I've got 4 grandchildren. Not only their parents set up a college fund, some of them are very young. I've got a new grandson that's 3 months old, and in each of the cases I've set up a little college fund where my wife and I will add a little something every year, and then they do that too, in anticipation of some very dramatic costs coming up in the months to come. And then getting together with someone like you and start doing the prep work in advance. You do a little planning. You can help your child succeed and also save yourself some money, right?
Oh, absolutely. I've got an ebook called 15 Secrets to Free College that your listeners can get absolutely free if they go to my website, which is collegeprepgenius.com. And when they go to click on 15 Secrets, go to the checkout and put the code RADIO, and you can get that for free. But in this ebook, I talk about, you know, how you can actually find 72 colleges that will actually give your child free college based on income. And even some of these schools consider $100,000 low income. I mean, there's a really cool thing called grading scale tuition, where let's say your child is planning on going to Harvard, you don't have to pay more than 10% just to go to Harvard. So if you make $120,000, you know, you pay about $12,000, which is cheaper than junior college. It also talks about there are colleges that will cap their loans at $5,000, and even a program that you can eat your way to free college, which is pretty cool. So
no doubt about it. Well,
yeah.
And I want to tell my listeners, you can get Jean's all those information about her website on my website, simply JimBrownUSA.com. Hey, Jean, got to go. Thanks for the information. We'll put the book on our website. The book's already on our website, and we'll look forward to talking to you again here in the fall about how you can save money in our kids going to college. Take care and have a nice weekend.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye-bye. Interesting lady, and some interesting planning you need to do if you want. But boy, college has got so expensive. You want to be sure your kid is profiled right to go to college, and how you pay for it takes a lot of planning in advance. Hey, Jim Brown here on the Common Sense Show.